Imagine you are completely alone in your quietest, most isolated moment. Out of nowhere, a demon appears with a simple, terrifying proposition. The demon says you will live this exact life innumerable times more. Every pain, joy, and small detail will return in the exact same sequence. Nietzsche called this the greatest weight. Repeating every failure and grief for eternity is a heavy burden. Historically, humanity had a built-in escape hatch for this kind of existential anxiety. Whenever earthly suffering became too much, people looked toward a heavenly afterlife or a future utopia, where their present pain would find some external resolution. The demon's proposition slams that escape hatch shut. By removing any possibility of an afterlife, the test forces you to look directly at your unedited earthly existence and decide if it is actually worth repeating. In another famous passage, a madman runs into a crowded public square with a lantern, shouting that God is dead and we have killed him. People often mistake this for a celebration of atheism. It is actually a severe warning. Nietzsche saw an impending loss of meaning creeping over Europe. Without the Christian God anchoring society, the foundation for objective truth collapses. The shared rulebook for right and wrong dissolves. What remains is a void. Without a fixed moral compass, humanity is left drifting in an empty space, entirely responsible for determining its own values without any external guarantee. To face the demon's test, you have to find a way to affirm your life while standing squarely inside this vacuum of meaning, without relying on the comfort of absolute truths. The crowd laughing at the madman in the town square aren't religious believers. They are modern, educated atheists who think they have simply outgrown the need for faith. These onlookers believe they have found a perfect replacement for religion in modern science. They trust that rationalism and empirical measurement can provide the ultimate authority that God used to offer. Nietzsche argues that this approach is just the old religious impulse in a different form. When people treat science as an infallible provider of cold, objective facts, they are practicing a blind faith in a capital T truth. Replacing a religious deity with scientific certainty fails the demon's test. Both mindsets try to avoid the subjective reality of human life by pointing to an imaginary perfect world, whether that is heaven or pure objectivity. Nietzsche offers a different way to survive the void in a book he titled Die fröhliche Wissenschaft, commonly translated as The Gay Science. The title doesn't carry the modern connotations of the word gay. A more accurate translation of the German would be joyous scholarship, a poised, disciplined pursuit of knowledge that remains exuberant and affirming. He pulled this concept from the medieval Provençal troubadours. These singing poets from southern France mastered a technical form of verse, blending rigorous scholarship with a passionate love for music. Inspired by these troubadours, Nietzsche champions a figure he calls the free spirit. Where the rigid realist insists on discovering objective facts, the free spirit operates like an artist. Instead of searching for equations to explain the universe, the free spirit authors their own meaning. They embrace the perspectives of life, knowing that reality is something we interpret and create. Nietzsche suggests that the task isn't to find a hidden truth, but to seize the power of the artist. You stop waiting for an absolute validation and start the work of authoring your own existence. So, if the demon arrives and demands that you live your exact life on a continuous loop, what specific mindset allows you to say yes? The answer is a concept Nietzsche called amor fati, or the love of fate. This diagram shows the mechanics of amor fati in action. You have to recognize that your deepest pains and your greatest joys are linked. The failures, the heartbreak, and the embarrassing mistakes are the exact steps required to reach the moments you cherish most. You have to abandon the wish for a different past. You cannot selectively edit your life, cutting out the bad parts to save the good, because every prior event was necessary to make you who you are right now. When you fully internalize that necessity, the crushing weight of the demon's infinite loop transforms. The repetition is no longer a curse, but a commitment to the specific life you've built. Accepting the death of objective truth and the necessity of your past moves you into a different landscape. The burden of being right vanishes, leaving you alone at the helm. Nietzsche compares this state to an open sea. With the old guardrails gone, the horizon is clear, leaving you to venture out and map your own values. Through the gay science, Nietzsche argues that you cease to be a subject of destiny. You become the artist responsible for the shape of your existence. Which brings us back to the midnight arrival of the demon, stepping out of the shadows to ask you the hardest question in philosophy. Are you living a life so authentically yours and so fully realized that you could look that demon in the eye, smile, and say, "Yes, give it to me again"?